There's a personal piece to this because where I fell in love with Megadeth. I love that it ended the decline of Western civilization part 2.
Yep.
And, you know, because there was a definite message of the glam scene in LA of becoming, it hadn't really to me gotten there yet, but becoming too superficial and becoming too excessive. And then it had pitfalls of that excessive lifestyle, right? You had Chris Holmes from Wasp,
right,
and the excessive drinking that was showcased in all of that. And, you know, the lifestyle choices that some of the musicians were choosing to make, which was very apparent were going to be poor choices in their life. And then if you just looked at that music scene for what it was easy to make fun of it. And then comes in Dave Mustaine,
yep,
and, you know, his take on integrity and music integrity. And you can have that, as we talked about with Gojira, you can have that in metal, and you can have a lot of strong messaging. And that's another thing too, like in all of these albums, thematically, Megadeth will speak to a lot of deep topics and themes.
Sure.
We brought up Wake Up Dead about sneaking in your house, which would be maybe more of a glam metal theme, but really there's not too many other songs that Megadeth has that are like that.
That was always kind of the, you know, especially through the big four.
Uh-huh.
And I think a lot of the thrash acts was, you know, they were singing on deep topics for the most part.
Environmental issues to issues of abuse and suffering, you know, that happen in the world.
Yeah.
So absolutely.
Mental health.
Yeah, exactly. Yes. Oh my gosh. Hook and Mouth. There, I was going to say, I was blanking out with the PMRC, at the time, and the censorship at the time was a fantastic song about censorship that was happening in the late 80s and early 90s. So, and of course, In My Darkest Hour, that was featured in that movie. So that to me was probably a realization, you know, of all of that in their music. And that's why I go back. And I also have to give you props because I had really kind of no journalistic leanings, and I probably should have, you know, more with what I studied in my life and what I made of it career-wise. But you were on the school newspaper at our high school, and I was not when I was listening to this album. And you were like, you should write the album review for the school newspaper because you heard me talking about how much I love this album. Mainly, like by some grace in you, you decided that you didn't want to do it. And you like threw me the bone. And I wrote it, and it like made the paper. And
there were only 2 that I didn't write that year.
Yeah,
it was that one, and then Mark Simon Petrie did one for Stryper.
Oh, that's perfect. I mean, that fits way more than me doing
absolutely
like a Hook and Mouth.
Yep.
So yeah, so like I mean, just all of that probably made me approach it more deeply. So I'm appreciative of you of that.